Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Wisconsin.
Good evening from Phoenix, Arizona. The roof is open tonight. It's a beautiful night for a ball game here in the desert as the Brewers and the Diamondbacks get ready for Game 2 of this 4-game series. Milwaukee winning yesterday 9-3. They try to make it back-to-back, and they send up one of their best, Kyle Loesch, to the mound. 8 strong innings against the Mets. His last time out, Mike Bolsinger, the right-hander, will get the start for the Diamondbacks. Hi, everybody. We welcome you from Chase Field alongside Bill Schroeder. I'm Brian Anderson. Telly Hughes, our reporter tonight. You saw Mike Bolsinger. That's part of the story here tonight. He gets the start instead of Wade Miley, so it's a right-hander instead of a left-hander. Carlos Gomez still out with a hamstring injury. Ron Renicky hoping he'll be back tomorrow, Rock, but it's another day off for Carlos Gomez, and I think one leads to the other.
Yeah, talking to Ron Renicky, couldn't be happier about the fact that Miley pushed back to tomorrow. That means Gomez can get another day off and get another day on the bench to make sure he's 100%. You put Ilian Herrera back in center field, the switch hitter, much better from the left side of the plate, so it works out well. Also keeping Scooter Gennett in that leadoff spot. Nobody doing better right now on this Brewers roster. Swinging the bat, hit a home run in yesterday's ball game. You keep Scooter in the lineup, and you have Wade Miley tomorrow. Gomez will be ready, and Ricky Weeks will get a start.
Scooter Gennett hit a big home run yesterday. The Brewers won the opener, trying to make it back-to-back W's. Speaking of W, Will Smith, he's in our spotlight today. Telly Hughes has the story of the Brewers setup reliever when we continue from Phoenix.
run surge, and the Crew go for consecutive wins over the Diamondbacks in Game 2 of this 4-game series. Hello and welcome back to Chase Field. I'm Tilly Hughes. A 3-run 8th inning helped guide the Brewers to a 9-3 win last night. Will Smith made an appearance in the 8th inning, and it's become customary to see him on the mound in that setup role. They had a 3-run lead, but Smith nonetheless worked a scoreless inning last night and has maintained a death grip on that role since given the opportunity. His numbers back that up, and his attitude on being the 8th inning guy truly assists those numbers.
Oh, I love it. I love the high pressure situations. You know, it's fun when the game's on the line. You're competing against the best in the world. You know, how can you not have fun doing that? Trying to come out on top and, you know, get the ball to Frankie to get a win. So I love the late inning situations. And you know, it's always nice when we win too.
Coming up, the Crew look for some carryover to make it 2 in a row here in Arizona. BA and Rock are back with the first pitch between the Brewers and Diamondbacks from Phoenix. Next on Fox Sports Wisconsin.
Wisconsin is brought to you by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite, now in the original can, it's Miller time. By Toyota, let's go places. And by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Tuesday night, downtown Phoenix. And it's got to be the most comfortable 102 degrees you could ever ask for. It's a dry heat, they say, Rock.
That's nice out. Second time in a row the roof's been open. That's a rarity around these parts. You don't see that very often.
As long as you're in the shade, it's all good here. The Brewers and Ron Renneke coming off a win last night, 42-29. The Brewers are a season-high 13 games over 500. Renneke's Associated Bank batting order: Scooter Gennett, Ryan Braun, Jonathan Lucroy at the top. Aramis Ramirez, who had the big hit last night, a 2 RBI double. Chris Davis and Mark Reynolds, they make up the middle of the order. And Renneke's got Gene Segura, Elian Herrera, and Kyle Loesch rounding it out. And instead of Wade Miley, who will pitch tomorrow, it's the right-hander up from AAA Reno, Mike Bolsinger. And the Brewers saw him earlier this year, partner.
Yeah, the Brewers beat him back on May 5th. He lost to the Brewers at Miller Park, was sent down to the minor leagues, and kind of a twist of fate brought up today to face the Brewers once again. He's 26 years old. 6 feet 2 inches tall, 210 pounds. Had some pretty good numbers down in AAA Reno. 5-1 in 9 starts. Let's check out the Diamondbacks as they line up defensively. The second most errors in all of the National League. The Diamondbacks have had a rough time of it. D.D. Gregorius gets a start at second base. Aaron Hill, the guy that's been tough on the Brewers. Brewer pitching staff is sitting this one out. There's your Diamondbacks defense tonight.
And the centerpiece is Paul Goldschmidt, Gold Glove Award winner last year, MVP candidate again this year. Ted Baird will call the balls and strikes tonight. Alfonso Marquez, Will Little, and Paul Schreiber on the bases. Everybody in their places, and we're ready for baseball tonight. So glad to have you with us on Fox Sports Wisconsin as Scooter Gennett takes strike one, and away we go. Now the fact that Miley starts tomorrow instead of tonight, as Rock mentioned, puts Gennett back in the starting lineup. And he has been very effective in that leadoff spot as he slaps one to third. Nice play over there by Prado. And there is the game's first out. That's how the night begins for 26-year-old Mike Bolsinger.
Yeah, Bolsinger not overpowering. He's a big guy, as we mentioned, 6 feet 2 inches tall, 210 pounds. He'll throw a lot of cut fastballs and a curveball. And he will two-seam his fastball from time to time. He racked up some strikeouts down in the minor leagues this year.
As a matter of fact, Bolsinger facing the AAA affiliate of the Brewers, the Nashville Sounds. Just last week, he struck out 12 Sounds last week. So the Brewers not only were able to see him earlier this year and get a bit of a scouting report because they faced him. Braun was on the DL at the time. He's one of the few that didn't see him. But they got a good report from the AAA ranks as well, what he's been lately. Ryan checks in, hitting .285. 10 home runs, 37 driven in. Yesterday, Braun had 2 hits. He drove in 2 runs. Almost hit one out to deep right center late. Story of the night last night was the Brewers' 2-out run producing. The Brewers scored 3 runs in the 8th inning in a tie game. Scored 3 runs to take the lead. All of those runs came with 2 outs and nobody on. And then they added 3 more in the 9th inning to make it a 9-3 game. And all 3 of those runs came with 2 outs and nobody on.
Yeah, Brewers were 4 for 5 in the 8th and 9th innings combined last night. They got some breaks to keep the innings alive, both in the 8th and 9th inning. Ramirez with the big base hit in the 8th. Ramos with 3 hits yesterday.
Two and 2 to Ryan Braun. And that one's in there, and he knew it. Down he goes on strikes.
And big curveball from Bolsinger. You're going to see a lot of those tonight. And this one right at the top of the strike zone, right down the middle of the plate. And he pitched that Ryan liked to have back.
So here is Lucroy now. 2 gone in the inning. Jonathan Lucroy blowing up on social media today. The attack ad that is out there, and it's good humor. Out of the creative mind of Brad Weimer, Brewers producer, and it's got Cardinal Nation all stirred up tonight.
Good,
which is always fun.
Right, get them involved. Always good to get the Cardinals get their dander up.
I'm sure they'll have a response shortly. But Lucroy certainly having an all-star caliber season. Yadier Molina, unless Brewers fans pull off an impressive voting barrage here over the next couple of weeks, Yadier Molina will most likely be the starting catcher. He's got a big lead among catchers in the votes in the National League, but Lucroy having one of those seasons, potential to make his first all-star team. He's hitting .335. That's good enough for second in the league. Lucroy has really caught fire since May 10th. That was a game against the New York Yankees in which he homered against CC Sabathia. And if you mark his numbers since May 10th, so it's been nearly 6 weeks now, Lucroy is tops in batting average. He's hitting .373 during that stretch. He's tops in the National Leagues in slugging percentage, in hits, and in doubles. In the air to right. Easy play for the Gold Glover Parra. And that will retire the side. So Bolsinger starts it with a 1-2-3 first inning. And now it'll be Kyle Loesch on the mound. And up late with us tonight. Brewers start this road trip against Kirk Gibson's Diamondbacks. Still 3 to play. It'll conclude on Thursday, and then it's off to Denver, Colorado for 3. Here is Kirk Gibson's batting order, brought to you by Associated Bank. Gregorius, Parra, Goldschmidt at the top of his order. And then in the middle, it's Montero, Prado, and Peralta. A couple of lefties in there. Bottom 3, Chris Owings, Roger Kieschnick, and Mike Bolsinger. And that's the batting order that will face Kyle Loesch, who's coming off a terrific start. His last time out on the road against the Mets.
Yeah, good turnaround after having a rough time at the Pittsburgh Pirates. 8 runs, 5 innings, but against the Mets, did not allow an earned run in 8 innings of work. A game the Brewers would win in 13 innings. In 14 starts, the Brewers are 10-4 when Kyle Loesch makes a start.
Loesch pitching in his hometown. He calls North Scottsdale home in the offseason, so able to sleep in his own bed as he pitches against the Diamondbacks. He starts Gregorius with strike 1. Gibson making a couple of changes in his starting lineup, specifically over there at second base with Gregorius instead of Aaron Hill. Gregorius is the shortstop by trade, but he's been playing second recently. And you might get a glimpse at what could be the Keystone combination here for a while in Arizona, with Gregorius and Owings at second and short.
Diamondbacks trying to see what they have going down the road. That looks like that ball hit him.
And it did hit him. So Gregorius is aboard. And a speedy runner on base to start it for Kyle Loesch.
Yeah, the slider by Kyle trying to back foot it, and that one, did it get him? Right above the knee? Well, who knows, but according to Ted Barrett, it hit him.
Now Loesch very good at holding runners. He can hold a running game down. His catchers appreciate that. Diamondbacks like to run a little bit. Their best base stealer, however, is on the disabled list, A.J. Pollock. Gregorius has spent some time in AAA this year, has just 1 steal at the big league level.
Yeah, this is only his 10th game. Combination, he has some pop in his bat, does Gregorius.
Gerardo Parra hit leadoff yesterday. He's in the 2 spot today. And a shot, base hit. A line drive single for Gerardo Parra. And the Diamondbacks putting up a threat early with 2 on and nobody out. And their best hitter, and one of the best hitters in all of baseball, coming up in Paul Goldschmidt.
Well, Kyle Lohse was outstanding his last time out, even early on, keeping the baseball down. He's going to have to concentrate on that against this guy. This guy's having an MVP type season.
Goldschmidt finished second in the MVP voting last year to Andrew McCutchen. Won the Gold Glove, won the Silver Slugger Award at first base, and led the National League in homers and RBIs as Lohse hits the outside corner to get ahead of him.
And we saw Goldschmidt take a couple of balls, just ripping them into right field on pitches away from him. Covers the outside corner extremely well, stands off the plate, likes to get those arms extended.
Has some gaudy numbers against the Milwaukee Brewers throughout his career, and it kind of started for him anyway, at least put him on the map as a legitimate top level slugger in the National League in that 2011 postseason. The National League Division Series against the Brewers. Goldschmidt had a grand slam in that series. He was just arriving to the big leagues at that time as a full-time member. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch with Goldschmidt and Montero. Two on, nobody out. And Goldschmidt looks at one down and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, whatever you do, whether you throw the ball in or out, you got to keep it down on Goldschmidt. The 2 hits that he got last night were on pitches on the outside corner, but up in the strike zone. Trying to get him to roll over on one, get a double play.
Ball and 2 strikes. This is away. Lohse has not fared all that well here at Chase Field. Has a career earned run average of .563. That covers 7 starts. A 1-2 record with that .56 earned run average. Misses again from 0-2 to 3-2 for Lohse against Goldschmidt.
Man, a guy, not only does he hit for power and average, he's got a great eye at the plate. I guess all those things go hand in hand. He doesn't swing him any pitches out of the zone.
Goldschmidt comes in 8th in the National League in batting. He's tied for 3rd in homers, 2nd behind Giancarlo Stanton of the Marlins in runs batted in. He's also the National League leader in hits coming in. He and Lucroy are 1 and 2 in that category. Full count. Lohse taking a long look at Gregorius, and Goldschmidt takes ball 4. Just like that, the bases are loaded. Goldschmidt not budging.
And Kyle trying to get him to chase. Made 2 really good pitches early to count and just couldn't get him. And now you have to deal with this guy, Miguel Montero, who is a pretty good run producer in his own right.
Well, you never want to be in a bases loaded, nobody out situation, but for a starting pitcher, the absolute worst time to be in this spot is coming right out of the bullpen to start a game when you're not quite in the game yet. He's going to have to be in it here. Some high stress pitches in the first inning for Lohse. A hit batter, a single, and a walk. And it's Montero, and that's down and in. Good block by Lucroy saves a run.
He's been doing that all season long. I mean, textbook, squaring himself up, keeping it close. And that'll have Lohse confident in being able to bounce that curveball all night long.
Yesterday, the Diamondbacks had 11 hits, but they scored just 3 runs. They stranded 6 in yesterday's game. Montero takes strike 1. Very good hitting catcher at the plate, Miguel Montero. Comes in with a .273 average, 10 homers. He's second on the club in home runs to his teammate Goldschmidt, who has 15. And a swing and a miss. 1 and 2.
Hadn't thrown many fastballs so far in this game. A lot of off-speed pitches. Diamondbacks will hunt some fastballs, and a 1-1 pitch, curveball down, and Montero swings over the top of it.
Montero did have a hit last night. He was 1 for 4, but he struck out twice as well. That's something Loesch could use here. 1 ball, 2 strikes with the bases full of D-backs. And another curveball. Montero lays off. Loesch missed the Diamondbacks first time around when they were at Miller Park back in early May. D-backs took 2 out of 3 from the Brew Crew in Milwaukee. It was a fastball low. 3-2 the count.
Well, just not biting, are they? I mean, they're making Loesch those strikes. Showing some good patience early in the game.
Yesterday, the Diamondbacks were aggressive at the plate. They were swinging early in the count against Willie Peralta. Well, you got an action pitch here. Full count, bases loaded. And Montero fouls one away just a touch late as he sends one into the seats.
Man, that pitch might have been ball 4 right there, up and away. I think he might have pulled the string on him a little bit.
Loesch having a deep reach into his toolbox here in this first inning. Brewers are set up to turn a double play. Here's a 3-2 and a jam shot. Little flare, shallow left field. Davis can't get there. And a run will score on a little flare hit. And the beat goes on for the Diamondbacks. And this is looking like a very rough beginning for Kyle Loesch. Still nobody out.
And not a bad pitch, a breaking pitch. It's James Montero, but he's able to dump it into left field. Yeah, kind of no man's land in that triangle out there. And bases still loaded, a run in.
And Rick Kranitz out quickly before there is an out in this game.
It's not a matter of not being able to get ahead in the count. He has been, especially to Goldschmidt and Montero, just not able to put him away.
All about damage control at this point. A run is in on 2 hits, a hit batter, a walk. And here is Martin Prado. Prado hit second yesterday. He's been bumped down in the order a little bit, hitting 5th today. And he is in a run producer's role here with the bases full of Diamondbacks. Off the end of the bat, Jeanette to second for 1. Segura's thrown to first, not in time. Another run scores. On the slow ground ball by Prado, he'll get credit for the RBI. The first out of the game for Loesch at second base.
A little key shot on the slider that time. Like Prado was thinking fastball, but Prado gets down that line pretty well, not able to turn the double play. Kyle, really trying to get through this inning without throwing many fastballs. Been curveballs and changeups and sliders.
Here's David Peralta with runners at the corners. And now 1 out. Peralta back in the starting lineup. He's 2 out of 4 yesterday. Swung the bat pretty well, getting a lot of playing time with A.J. Pollock on the disabled list with a broken hand. Diamondbacks have 10 players currently on the disabled list. That's been part of their story. They come into play tonight with just 30 wins. They're 30-43. They're dead last in their division. Worst record in the National League.
Yeah, they're playing better, though. They got to a horrible start in the month of April. Their pitching has not been very good. Had a dreadful start to the year. They have given up the most hits, runs, home runs in the National League. Their offense is pretty good.
They started the year 9-22. They've played 500 balls since. Bouncing ball to first. Reynolds has it to second. Oh, Segura able to get the foot on the bag for the out. But instead of a double play that might end the inning, the Brewers get it out, but a run scores. And it's 3-0 Arizona. Had a chance to go 3-6-3 for a double play, but a poor throw by Reynolds.
You can see him on a pick, and he had a lot of time to make that throw. He was able to clear the runner. That wasn't the issue. But Segura doing a fabulous job of trying to retouch that bag and able to get at least one out. Could have been a lot worse right there.
And Segura looks like he's shaken up a little bit, grabbing at his right hip.
Man, what a nice adjustment, though, by Segura. You know, he's figuring a chest-high throw, ready to turn two. And that throw way off the mark, able to make that adjustment late. Well, you hope he didn't do anything to himself.
He does not look comfortable. Runner at first, 2 outs, 3 in for the Diamondbacks. Arizona had a 3-run second inning yesterday. And the Brewers had 2 3-run innings yesterday in the 8th and the 9th. Chris Owings, Arizona's terrific shortstop. Seventh batter in the inning for Arizona. A lot of pitches early for Loesch. Had that one meltdown game against the Pittsburgh Pirates on the road. Other than that, Loesch has been a model of consistency. Other than that game in which he allowed 8 runs in 5 innings back on June 6th, he's only had one start where he's allowed 4 earned runs. And all of the others have been either 3 earned runs or fewer. Twice he's given up no runs in a start. Went the distance against the Cubs in early June and had 8 innings with 0 earned runs his last time out. There is the final out of the first inning. It was a big one for the Diamondbacks, so nice play by Segura. 3-0 AZ. As the Brewers trail 3-0 going to the second inning. Got a lot of baseball to play. How about our Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery? The check swing inning could have ended right there and the game still tied, but Ramirez got another hack at it. And did he ever deliver, Rock?
Yeah, it could have very easily been a no-run inning in the 8th inning if that check swing's called a strike 3. That would have been the 3rd out, but the Brewers, you have to give them credit. I mean, after that big break to keep Ramirez alive in that at-bat, they came up with a couple of hits, 3 runs. Same thing back in the ninth inning, the next inning. Herrera stealing third. Looked like on replay he might have been out. That would have been out number 3 with no runs in.
Ramirez launches one to left field, fair or foul. That is a fair ball home run and a bomb. Second level for Aramis Ramirez. Was that ball ever tattooed? My goodness, that's number 8 for Ramirez, and it puts the Brewers on the board. It's 3-1 Diamondbacks.
You don't see many in the second deck out there in left field. That was a blast by Ramirez. And the Brewers hit a couple of home runs off of Bolsinger in Milwaukee. That was a fastball middle in. Our Powerball home run count number 8 for Aramis. And that was a bomb to left.
That had the sound, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
He knew he got it. Only question was, would it tuck inside that foul pole? And it did.
Second row up there in the second deck. I haven't seen too many up there.
It had some heat on it too when it went up there. It handcuffed
the
fans that were up there trying to grab the ball. Good feeling for Aramis Ramirez. Home run number 7 for him.
4 hits already in the series.
Chris Davis. A big power potential as well. Davis homered off Homer Bailey on the last homestand. That was last Friday. He had 2 hits yesterday. It was 2 out of 4. Drove in a couple of runs. And a ground ball to short. Owings will wind it up. And a good throw for the first out. Mike Bolsinger, 26 years of age. He played his college ball at Arkansas. He was part of a College World Series team there. College World Series is underway in Omaha right now. I'm sure he's got fond memories of that.
Yeah, had nice numbers down in the minor leagues this year. A little bit different in the major leagues. 1 and 2 with a 6 earned run average. Down in the minor leagues, 273. That's in Reno.
What can you tell us about Reno?
It's a launching pad.
Oh, it is.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Well, he only gave up 2 home runs in 9 starts in AAA. So he's been a guy, at least at the upper minor league levels, that has been able to keep the ball down, keep the ball in the ballpark.
Now, Reno used to be A-ball when I was playing in the Cal League.
Now, they got a nice new facility there that opened up a few years back, and maybe 2 years ago. He's from the Chicago area, lives in Texas now, but he grew up just blocks from Wrigley Field. Has that little hesitation in his motion as he strikes out Mark Reynolds for out number 2, and that's his second strikeout.
And you can see when he's got that curveball working, he can be tough. 2 strikeouts, both coming on curveballs. You got Ryan Braun looking at a curveball in the first inning.
Now Segura tugging at his right hip after a tough stretch play last inning. Looks like he's all right. He's back in there. Tough luck hitting yesterday for Segura. Took the collar last night, dropping his average to 243. Could have easily had 2 hits, and maybe with a little luck could have had 3 hits last night. Goldschmidt robbed him of an extra base hit. Started a 3-6-3 double play. We'll see if he can keep his patience. I think the word from the batting cage from Segura and Johnny Naron is that all the pieces are in place for him now. He's starting to, whatever that means mechanically,
staying back,
feeling like the hits are going to come shortly for Segura.
Anytime you see him hit balls hard to right field, that means he is staying back. There was a stretch of games where he was kind of pushing off that back foot a little bit too early. You don't want to be pushing off the back foot. You want to pivot on the back foot, and when you push off, your head's moving and you can't see the pitch coming in.
There's that big curveball by Bolsinger, and the count evens at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Might not have got a hit yesterday, but he played fabulous defense. He made a great play early in the game.
Did he ever?
Both teams played very well defensively in last night's game.
We had a ton of highlight reel plays in last night's game from both sides, including Segura and Jeanette. 2-2. And a shot into right center, a base hit. That's down, and it's going to go to the wall. And the speedy Segura, thinking about threes, on his way. And the throw overshoots everyone. And a triple for Segura with 2 away. Well, that was a thing of beauty there as Segura drives one through the gap in right center.
Well, you see the way he's able to stay back and finally rewarded for a good approach, driving it to the opposite field. And with his good speed, able to get into third base easily, and especially because they hit the cutoff man out there in the outfield.
Segura now with 3 triples to go along with his 2 home runs. Also has 7 doubles. And that'll give Elian Herrera a swing at Bolsinger. He's the one guy that's seen him the most recently.
But didn't remember it.
Yeah, he's selective memory on that. I don't blame him. So Bolsinger pitched against Nashville last week. Herrera was playing for Nashville. Bolsinger struck out 12 in that game and struck out Herrera 3 times. I said, Elian, you remember this guy? Did you give a scouting report to the team? He goes, no, I don't remember. And then he asked Johnny Nairn what he threw.
That's a good positive approach, though.
I'm all in.
You know, I mean, you don't want to say, yeah, I remember him. He wore me out. That's not what you want.
Herrera had a good night last night. Had a couple of hits, stole the base. Starting in center field, which is a bit of a stress for Herrera. He's an infielder by trade. He's the lone extra outfielder the Brewers are carrying right now, with Gomez on the shelf with that tightness in the hamstring. There's a bouncing ball, backhanded by Gregorius. The throw is in time, and that'll retire the side. But the Brewers get a run on a booming home run by Aramis Ramirez, a second decker. It's 3-1 Diamondbacks.
Importantly, he's not a St. Louis Cardinal. So this year, make your voice heard. Cast a ballot for change. Cardinals fans need to know that enough is enough. Status quo no longer flies. The best catcher in baseball plays in Milwaukee. Vote Jonathan Lucroy.
I'm Jonathan Lucroy, and I approve this message.
Lock in Luke is the hashtag. He is currently 3rd right now in National League voting behind the plate, behind Posey and Molina. And the commercial that is stirring up the National League Central.
Nice. I like the crying baby. That's my favorite part.
That kind of seals the deal, right?
That kind of tells you what everybody in Milwaukee feels.
Lucroy certainly deserving and having some fun with it as well.
Yeah, it's all good fun.
Former Cardinal Kyle Loesch trying to get things turned around in this second inning, giving up 3 runs in the first. The first 4 batters reached against Loesch. RBIs from Montero, Prado, and Peralta. And facing Roger Kieschnick to start this bottom of the second. Brewers got one of them back with an Aramis Ramirez home run. His Arizona pitching staff has been awful here in the early going. You know, their lineup is not bad. They've had their fair share of injuries. They're missing a number of very good hitters, including A.J. Pollock, who was having a great year, their speedy center fielder. But, you know, their lineup, Rock, can produce some runs. They've got a lot of threats up and down their batting order.
The offense really isn't a problem. We talked about that yesterday and early on today. And pitching has been their problem, particularly their starters. But that's even starting to come around a little bit. They're playing much better after they got out of the month of April.
Roger Kieschnick flies to shallow left. That is Segura out there to make the play for the first out. Check our Felco All-Star voting update. The Brewers have 8 players on this year's ballot. You can cast your vote for them at Brewers.com, and you can vote up to 25 times per email account. And there you see Lucroy, currently 3rd. Carlos Gomez is 4th in the voting right now. Top 3 will be starters at the All-Star game. So we encourage you to vote often and vote Brewers. Mike Bollinger,
really
Bolsinger, I should say.
Yeah, it's really not a tough sell for the guys, you know, Gomez and Lucroy, Ryan Braun. I mean, there's going to be some pitchers on that team as well. You can't vote for them. And a team that's in first place and has been in first place just about the entire season, 13 games over 500, certainly deserves to be well represented in the All-Star game.
Kyle Loesch certainly pitching like an all-star this year. The managers will make those choices. Fly ball right field over is Braun. And he's got it in foul territory for out number 2. Now, speaking of online voting, did you hear about this, Rock? The Brewers and Fox Sports Wisconsin are hosting a Vote Brewers online ballot party tomorrow. Just tune into Fox Sports Wisconsin here starting at 8 p.m. for the party. You can log on to Brewers.com. You can upload your photo using hashtags Vote Brewers and Ballot Party. And we might show your photo during the broadcast. 6 lucky fans will be chosen to join us in the Fox Sports Wisconsin suite at Miller Park on June 26th.
Nice.
So visit Brewers.com/all-star for complete rules.
Where's the party?
It's coming up tomorrow.
Is that the ballpark or where is it?
It's an online party. It's like a
chat room or something?
Yeah, but there's no real room.
I know what a chat room is.
Yeah.
I mean, so I thought there was an actual party.
There's no room or party to go to.
So there's no food, nothing like that?
There will be no valet and there'll be no food. It really keeps expenses down, you know. It's a virtual party room, Rock.
I get it. Okay.
Don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's tomorrow.
I just wanted to make sure. I mean, I thought there was an actual party.
Well, it is a party.
I'm probably not the only one that thought there was a physical party.
Don't discriminate against virtual parties. It'll be an actual party.
Okay.
We'll have a briefing after the game.
No, I get it. So we can actually attend.
Sure, because we could do the game and attend the party.
Right.
That makes it a great party.
Sweet.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Gregorius. And a shot into center field. Herrera is there, and that's the inning that Loesch needed. Good bounce back. 3 up, 3 down. The D-backs go in order. from Wisconsin and Arizona. And they are making their voices heard early. Kyle Lohse will lead off for the Brewers. It's 3-1. Arizona scoring 3 in the first. Brewers got one last inning, and Lohse swinging away at the first pitch. Backhanded by Owings. Good strong throw, 1 pitch and 1 out.
Hey, looking for the best deal on Brewers tickets? With Brewers Dynamic Deals, you can catch all the electrifying action at Miller Park for as low as $9 per ticket. To find the best values on Brewers tickets all season long, visit brewers.com/deals. It has been electrifying at Miller Park this year.
It's a good word.
I mean, that's perfectly said. A lot of great games, good play. The Brewers in first place. And a great start to the season. Now they just got to keep it up.
You don't normally break out the 5 syllables unless it really has an impact.
Yeah, that is 5 syllables, right?
Were you just counting that on your hand?
I was. That's how I do it.
Top of the order here, Scooter Gennett, and a bouncer to second. Gregori is backing up on it. 2 quick outs, 2 ground ball outs. And so far, Mike Bolsinger, outside of that long home run by Ramirez, he is getting his ground balls, and that's the book on him coming up from AAA Reno.
Well, when he has the curveball working, he's going to have a good outing, and so far he has. The curveball has been a good pitch for him.
Ryan Braun coming up with 2 away. It's probably too small of a sample size, but in his 5 games in the big leagues, when you break down his individual pitches, he throws each pitch, the fastball, the cut fastball, and the curveball. He breaks them up in a third apiece as Braun singles up the middle and a base hit. Does that tell you anything when a pitcher does that in 5 starts?
Well, it means that he doesn't have an overpowering pitch. I mean, it's he's got a repertoire of 3 different pitches. And tonight he's got a very good curveball, so I think he's going to be throwing a few more curveballs, although Ryan Braun got a hanger right there and banged it into center field. He doesn't throw very hard. He's got to command all 3, and when one of them's working particularly well, that's the one he's going to throw the most.
Now Braun struck out on a hanging curveball in the first that fooled him, and delivers a base hit on the next one he sees. So here is Lucroy, and a shot back up the middle and a base hit. Braun will hold his ground at second, and the second time around the Brewers swinging early in the count, and Braun and Lucroy with back-to-back singles will get Ramirez to the plate. AT&T UVerse Rewind. Last inning, Aramis unloading on one to left, just inside the foul pole.
That might be why, right there, why he's throwing so many curveballs, talking about Bolsinger. Fastball, and Ramirez able to turn it around big time.
Brewers have been swinging away early. Ramirez hit a first pitch into the seats, his first time up, and that's been the story of this 3rd inning.
Yeah, 5 pitches to 4 batters this inning.
Ramirez takes a strike. 90-mile-an-hour fastball. When Aramis Ramirez gets in one of those grooves, he is a very tough out. And the Brewers are hoping he's in one of those grooves right now. He has 4 hits in his last 5 at-bats. Just got under that one. Shallow center field. Peralta is there, and that will retire the side. Brewers strand a pair, get a couple of 2-out hits, still 3-1 D-backs. Wisconsin is brought to you by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Marshfield Clinic, don't just live, shine. And by Gerhard's, the kitchen and bath store. Find inspiration for your home, remodel, or new construction project at Gerhard's. Chase Field, downtown Phoenix, and we're on our way to the bottom of the third inning. It's 3-1 Diamondbacks. All three of those Arizona runs coming in the first inning. Loesch bounced back with a 3-up, 3-down second. And we'll face Parra, Goldschmidt, and Montero here in the third. Starts Parra with a breaking ball strike. Former Gold Glove outfielder Gerardo Parra. It's funny, after he won the Gold Glove a couple of years ago, the Diamondbacks acquired Jason Kubel, and Parra ended up essentially in a fourth outfielder's role despite winning the Gold Glove. He's got an everyday role now, though.
Yeah, Chris Young, Kubel, both of those guys coming over, and you know, he was kind of the odd man out, but he's got one of the best throwing arms in all the National League. Very good right fielder, covers a lot of ground, and can he throw the baseball? One of the better throwing arms you'll see.
He cut down Ryan Braun yesterday, part of a double play. Now when Loesch is on the mound, a premium on defense. Typically a lot of balls in play with Kyle Loesch out there. Typically ground balls too when he's right. There's a 1-2, and Parra bounces one over to first. Reynolds is there. He'll take it himself. And the first out. Let's give you a look at that Brewers defense tonight. And of course, Carlos Gomez, if you're just picking us up, not in the lineup again, expected to be back tomorrow. So Herrera starts in center field. And Segura and Jeanette manning the middle. Ramirez and Reynolds on the corners. And Lucroy catching Loesch, our Menards Brewers defense tonight. And it is always at a premium with Loesch on the mound. And Gomez, Rock seems to be in good spirits. I think he feels like he could play, but it is not his choice at this point. They want to make sure that tightness in the hamstring has a chance to heal over these 2 days. And I think that the move by Kirk Gibson to bump Miley back to tomorrow probably helped the decision-making process for the Brewers with Gomez.
Yeah, Ron Renicky very happy about that. The fact that, you know, give Gomez an extra day. Had Miley been out there, the left-hander, Gomez would have been in center field. So give him an extra day to make sure that hamstring's okay. Herrera, not a bad left-handed hitter, but struggles from the right side. So you put him back out there. Herrera making his third start in center field this year.
Renicky did say that Gomez would be available tonight. He did take batting practice. So it's not a full shutdown. Certainly no disabled list necessary. But Renicky knows it's a big bat and a big presence out of his starting lineup.
But you'd rather have him out 2 days than maybe 3 weeks if he hurts that hamstring any further.
Loesch falling behind to Goldschmidt.
Had him 0-2 again. Had him 0-2 his first at bat, walked him. He's 0-2 again in this at bat.
That is 7 consecutive balls to Goldschmidt for Loesch, and he misses. So he has walked him twice now. And a man on for Arizona. Goldschmidt with 2 walks, scored a run his last time up. He's at first for Miguel Montero. Goldschmidt just in one of those zones right now. I don't even know if we call it a zone anymore. He just might be that good.
Yeah.
He just doesn't budge out of the strike zone.
And you don't blame Loesch for trying to make him work out of the strike zone. He had him 0-2 again. And he's just not going to bite at pitches out of the strike zone. Very rarely ever does.
Here's Montero. Montero had a little flare single to left field. Loesch got in on his hands, but he was able to muscle it over Ramirez and in front of Davis in left. That produced a run, the first run of the game for Arizona. Part of that 3-run first inning. And that ball is hit high and deep right center field. Braun is back, feeling for the wall, and he's got it for the out.
Yeah, just didn't have that sound. He got under it. It sounded like he didn't get all of it, and just barely able to keep it in the ballpark is Loesch. Using every bit of the acoustics here. Another breaking pitch. Loesch has thrown a lot of off-speed pitches.
Hey, now time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag WisFanPhoto for a chance to have it showed in an upcoming broadcast. It's brought to you by AT&T. So 2 gone. Goldschmidt still at first. Here is Martin Prado. Prado drove in a run on a fielder's choice. Hit a little ground ball over to first. That ball's driven to right. Ryan Braun is there for the out, and Loesch puts up a 0 in the third. 3-1 Arizona. The Brew Crew coming up.
People Magazine and Target are celebrating teachers in your community. Vote for the teacher who will represent your team at the 2014 All-Star Game July 15th on Fox at allstarteachers.com. That game will be played in Minnesota. And a quick injury update on a couple of relievers that aren't with the Brewers right now. Tyler Thornburg, who is suffering from a right elbow soreness. He's coming along quite well. Ron Renicky said he's not throwing on a mound yet, but he can throw a little bit. And as for Jim Henderson, he's been working out at the Brewers complex here in Arizona, and he's been with the team, but he may stay behind when the Brewers head to Denver on Friday. So a couple of guys that are trying to get back into form, and they're certainly missed down in that Brewers bullpen, B.A.
Yes, they are. Thank you, Tally, for the update. As Chris Davis leads off this 4th inning, and the Diamondbacks 3-1 lead. Now Henderson going to have to go through the complete startup again. So throwing off flat ground, he's going to be with the rookie ball team here at Arizona. And the reason that is because the full complement of medical assistance is here. The full medical team, athletic training facilities here where the Brewers train in spring training. As Davis strikes out, Montero will secure it. And Bolsinger picks up yet another K. That's his 3rd. 1 gone in the 4th. That can be a lonely existence in Arizona for a guy who's been to the big leagues like Henderson. He knows he's going to have to start all over again. So it's going to be a while for him, you imagine.
Yeah, a little bit of concern for Jim Henderson because it has been a while. He's been on DL for quite some time. And you just hope he's going to be able to come back at some point.
Here's Mark Reynolds, and he swings at the first pitch. Little cue shot. Bolsinger throws him out. The ball had a lot of spin on it.
A little bit more difficult for him than it looked early on. Oh, slipping out of his hand, able to get the throw to first base. Another out on a curveball.
And another first pitch swing by the Brewers. So 2 quick ones here in the 4th. And here is Gene Segura. Segura tripled his last time up. He swings away at the first pitch. That triple by Segura came with 2 outs. He was left stranded at third. Brewers have left 3 on in the last 2 innings, but all 3 of those batters reached base with 2 outs in the inning. Bolsinger has gotten ahead often tonight. 14 out of 16 first pitch strikes.
And not just fastballs. He's been able to mix in that curveball. The Brewers have offered early at it quite often.
One and 2 on Segura, and he got him. Surprised him with a fastball. 2 Ks in the inning. Bolsinger has given up just the 1 run so far. It's 3-1. As we head to the bottom of the 4th, a former all-star venue here at Chase Field. And don't forget, Tuesday, July 15th, baseball's best gather in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Target Field. Promises to be an emotional, unforgettable night. Derek Jeter will be there. Special coverage begins at 4:30 on FS1, followed by the All-Star Game at 7:30 only on Fox. Great to have you with us tonight on Fox Sports Wisconsin, as the Brewers trail the Diamondbacks 3-1. David Peralta leading off for Arizona. Loesch at the bottom of their order. Bouncing ball to Reynolds. And there is out number 1.
Well, Kyle Loesch figures if he's able to put things together, pretty good chance his team's going to be able to get him off the hook here. He holds them to 3. This Brewers offense has been in high gear this entire month. The best offenses in the National League this month.
Now the Brewers having a great month of June, scoring runs, and not just runs scored, but slugging percentage and hitting for big power. A lot of extra base hits in that run, the best in the National League in those major slugging categories since June 1st. And it's been timely because as the pitchers have kind of settled back or corrected back to the curve. The offense has started to pick that pitching staff up a little bit. And a lot of success coming on the road.
Yeah, Brewers hitting .328 as a team in the month of June. That's pretty good numbers.
There's a line drive to right center, a base hit. Chris Owings just reaches out, serves one on his way to second base, and he is in there with a hustle double. This guy can run. You got to get to it quickly and make a play. It's all part of the inexperience of Elian Herrera, and that could be a big base.
No, not used to making that throw. I mean, if you turn your back and pivot around the other way, watch the way he comes around right here. You're not able to get much on the throw, and you can't be very quick when you do that. The Diamondbacks have been taking liberties on Herrera in the first 2 games of this series.
You almost take for granted how great Gomez is until you see another guy play center field. And no disrespect to Herrera, but he is probably below average. I would say average at best as far as speed and arm. But as far as playing the position, below average in center field. And that's not his gig. You know, he's an infielder.
Right,
he's pressed into duty.
He's been pretty good in the outfield given the fact that he's an infielder. We were just getting ready to say Gomez, one of the best outfielders in the game. You can't expect Herrera to play at that level.
It's incredible the kind of plays that Gomez makes and the way he changes the game from center field. That's really been the story for the Brewers too. Doug Melvin talked about this last year as he was starting to build the roster, inking Gomez to that long-term deal prior to last season. He signed Jonathan Lucroy the year before that to a long-term extension. There's a bouncer by Kieschnick out to Reynolds. That'll be the second out. But you can see what Melvin has done, building it up through the middle. Catcher, second, short, right. Center field.
Strong up the middle. That's what you need to be. And the Brewers have done a good job of that. Their defense has been pretty good. A little bit of a lapse a few games ago. They made 6 errors in a 2-game stretch, but they have been solid defensively. You're strong up the middle. That's a good start.
And the pitcher Bolsinger at the plate. Big swing and a miss.
Strong up the middle defensively, and you're getting a ton of offense out of him too.
Oh, and 2. Bolsinger flew out to right his first time up. Lowe's trying to make quick work of him and put together 3 scoreless innings. Got a runner at third, and the 0-2, little chopper over to third base. Ramirez has it, and a good throw for the out to retire the side. 3-1 Diamondbacks. Herrera, Loesch in the top of the order coming up. Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. And by Miller Lite, now in the original can, it's Miller time. The mighty saguaro here in the desert of Phoenix, Arizona. Hello, Milton, Wisconsin. They love you too. Brewers fans enjoying Chase Field on a 100-degree night, but they have the roof open. It's actually very, very nice.
Real nice up here in the press box.
Yeah, got that AC just plowing on our backs.
Not sure how it is down in the field.
I think it's all right. Telly's down there. He looks comfortable. Telly always looks comfortable. Elian Herrera will lead off for the Brewers. It's 3-1 Arizona. Diamondbacks scored all 3 of their runs in the first inning. First 4 batters of the game reached against Loesch. First 3 scored, but he's been very good since. See if the Brewers can start to chip away here as Bolsinger looked like he got something caught, maybe a spike caught on his way to the plate. He's got a little bit of that hesitation. Reminds me of Takashi Saito a little bit.
Well, you pause at the top to get your balance on that back leg before you start your delivery to home plate, to make sure you have everything collected before you make your offering to home.
Is that a distraction as a hitter?
Not really. I mean, I guess maybe the first time you see him, but the Brewers have seen him before. Just try and pick out a spot where that ball is going to be coming out.
Herrera got that one in on the hands a little bit, right to Gregorius, who makes a play for out number 1.
Hitters don't follow the arm in the baseball as it comes around and on its way to home plate. Pick out a spot. And tonight's time of the game winner, Hannon's in Waukesha, if they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours. They get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Here's Kyle Loesch. Swung at the first pitch his last time up.
Now, some hitters, they will just stare at the bill of the pitcher's cap until they pick up that spot when that ball is coming out, where the arms, that release point. You got to focus your eyes on something. You can't be following that arm as it comes around.
Well, we've been sharing a lot of Tony Gwynn stories over the last couple of days after the passing of the legendary Padre yesterday, and he subscribed to the Ted Williams theory as far as where to put your eyes, right on the logo of the cap, and then moving his eyes over into the space where the hand would release the baseball. That sounds like a very minute thing, but you know, as a hitter, the faster you can see something, the quicker you can pick it up. Ron Renicky was telling me today that he was teammates with Tony Gwynn in San Diego in their World Series year. As Loesch strikes out, and 2 up and 2 down. Renicky was saying that he had very good eyesight and always prided himself on his hand-eye coordination and his eyesight. And he only knows of one person who had better eyesight than him, and it was Tony Gwynn, who saw it about a 2012 clarity, 2010 even, I think he said it was. It's just amazing. Gwynn used to be able to see the multiple fingers around the baseball on a changeup. I was asking Ryan Braun today, I said, have you ever seen that? A guy who throws a changeup, can you see, as right before he lets the pitch go, all of the fingers around? He goes, no way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing to be able to do that. I've never known a hitter that's been able to do that. You can see the spin as it comes out of the hand, but picking up how many fingers a pitcher has on the baseball, that's something special.
And he was special.
A lot of hitters, great hitters, will tell you they can see if the pitcher's, you know, the angle of the wrist, where it is. I mean, that'll tell you if it's going to be a curveball or a slider.
There's a shot back up the middle, ranging over is Owings, and no chance to get Jeanette. But Owings made it close. Boy, this guy can play some shortstop. infield hit by Scooter Gennett.
It goes down on the ground to stop his momentum toward the right field area. Gets up quickly and makes a perfect throw over to first base. I mean, that's about as quick as you can be. And he was well on the first base side of the bag when he made that throw. That's a heck of a play, but he didn't get him.
Owings has dealt with a lot of the same stereotypes that Gene Segura has coming up, even from his own organization, in that he's not the prototypical shortstop body. Didi Gregorius is the prototypical shortstop frame. But Owings is so good at that position. They moved Gregorius to second. That's how they line up tonight for the Diamondbacks. Here's Ryan Braun now. Now the Brewers looking for a quick strike, perhaps. Braun ripped one back up the middle in the third inning. Bolzinger struck him out in the first.
Got him on a curveball, a called strike 3. Then Brawny able to bang a first pitch curveball into center field.
Braun sitting on 10 home runs. And bounces that one to Owings, and he'll go to the bag to retire the side. Another ground ball out for Mike Bolzinger. 3-1 Arizona. We head to the bottom of the 5th. He might have something to do with our Carsoup.com trivia question. Who are the two starting second basemen for the Arizona Diamondbacks in the 0-1 World Series? Winning that title. Craig Counsell was part of that team. That might have something to do with the answer. Between the subtle and not so subtle hints, I'll give you a chance. Always good to see Bob Brenly. Guy's gone his entire broadcasting career and has never worn a tie. No, it's not true. He's worn a tie.
Yeah, Cubs and now Diamondbacks, right? They don't require the ties.
He's working with Steve Berthiaume on Diamondbacks television. Our old buddy Mitch Riggin directing games for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Got a lot of good folks here. We spend a lot of time with them, of course, in spring training. Great crew here in Arizona. Didi Gregorius sends one sky high. And Herrera will make the call and the catch for the first out.
Hey, Scooter Gennett gets bobbleized. That's Sunday, June 29th, when the Brewers welcome the Rockies to Miller Park. All fans in attendance get this collectible bobblehead of the Brewers second baseman, courtesy of Wisconsin Army National Guard. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or visit Brewers.com. Got the camo on, Scooter.
He's looking a little nervous. That's a nervous bobble right there. Have to put that in slow motion next time.
Yeah, but those little ones, you can't really slow them down much.
They don't say yes very well, but they really say no well. You got to be careful not to twist the head right off. that happens. Are the Brewers going to be wearing the camo jerseys that day? Is that why?
I don't know. You think I get that information before you?
I think you do, actually. Loesch kicks that ball. Segura comes up with it and takes care of Parra. Loesch would have been better served to just let it go. Instincts took over, I suppose. But Parra is out. You'll have to give Loesch an assist on that. It goes 1-6-3.
Yeah, a little cue shot off the end of the bat, and I guess it's better to kick it than try and grab it with your foot and grab it with your hand. Slows it down a little bit. Segura would have made the play anyway.
2 up, 2 down. Here's Goldschmidt. Strike in there.
Hasn't had any problems getting ahead of Goldschmidt tonight. He's been 0-2 on the first 2 at bats, 0-1 here.
He's walked him twice despite being 0-2 on him.
Nothing wrong with this. I mean, why let him beat you, right? Put him on first, go after Montero.
2 balls and a strike, and he lays off. And Loesch looks content to give him a base. If Goldschmidt doesn't get himself out, and he's not in one of those grooves right now where he's swinging it much outside the strike zone. That one's in there.
Break-in was a hanger. Looking fastball, didn't get it.
This is a spot where Loesch might just throw a fastball right down the middle. We'll see. Lucroy sets up away. Fastball missed. Goldschmidt walks for the 3rd time.
It didn't miss by much, did it? Loesch for a second maybe thought he might get the call, but nope.
Which will bring Montero to the plate. Had a single and an RBI in the first. He hit one deep into right field. His next time up in the 3rd, it sent Braun back to the wall in right. Didn't quite get it. Loesch has had a steady diet of curveballs for Montero tonight. Starts him with another one, and he lays off. Now, 2 of the great hitting catchers in the National League. This has become a golden era of catchers in the NL right now, with Lucroy and Montero, Buster Posey, Yadier Molina is the gold standard. A lot of good catches. Willeen Rosario in Colorado. We'll see him next week.
Yeah.
That's another guy that can swing the bat. Russell Martin of the Pirates.
But none of them having a better year right now than Jonathan Lucroy. And both behind the plate and swinging the bat.
2-1 to Montero. Loesch has had some base runners behind him, but has not allowed a run since the 3-run first. He's walked Goldschmidt twice. He's also given up a double to Chris Owings. Goldschmidt not a base stealer, but he will give you the sneak attack every now and then. He has 5 stolen bases this season, so you got to pay attention to him over there. Here's a 2-1. Montero, ground ball. Jeanette's got to come in. He was playing deep. Scoops. Oh, and he cannot get the ball in his hand. And the inning continues, and a misplay by Jeanette. We'll see how they score that one. That's going to be an E4.
Yeah, with the shift, they had Scooter way out there in the grass in right field. Had a long way to go, and the little chopper off the end of the bat. Well, he keeps it in the glove. You have the catcher running, keeps it in the glove. He's going to get the out.
Well, that extends the inning for Martin Prado. 2 on, 2 out for the Diamondbacks, their best threat since they scored 3 in the first. And a spinner in there for a strike for Loesch. Prado with an RBI on a fielder's choice in the first inning. Loesch got him to fly out to right to end the third. That was with Goldschmidt at first base. Former Atlanta Brave and a former All-Star as a Brave. And a line drive base hit. In to score is Goldschmidt. On his way to third and safe at third is Montero. RBI single for Martin Prado. It's 4-1 Arizona. And that error by Jeanette proves costly.
Well, the walk in the air. Now Prado picking on a slider that's up in the zone. And he hits it just out of the reach of Jeanette. Well, Herrera makes the right throw into third base. It was close over there, but Montero able to get in safely. So a 2-out base hit where the Diamondbacks extends their lead.
Diamondbacks with a walk, an error, and a hit with 2 outs. Loesch had 2 outs, nobody on. David Peralta fouls it away. Oh, and 2 the count. Milwaukee will have the heart of their order coming up in the 6th inning. Lucroy, Ramirez, and Davis. David Peralta making the jump from Double-A on June 1st to the big leagues. And a swing and a miss. Down he goes on strikes. Loesch gives up an unearned run, a costly error by Jeanette. It's 4-1 Arizona. We're on our way to the 6th inning at Chase Field. And our Carsoup.com trivia question: who are the 2 starting second basemen for the Arizona Diamondbacks in their World Series year? There's one of them. The other is Jay Bell, who is a coach with the Cincinnati Reds now. Council started all but Game 6. In that thrilling series, Luis Gonzalez had the big hit, the little jam sandwich out there to center field off Mariano Rivera.
How about Joe having to get in the shot? Did you see Joe pretending like he's giving Counsell some tips?
That's what we call a video bomb.
Come on, Joe, just sit there.
It's an enormous amount of glare coming off the right side of that booth. The hair discrepancy between play-by-play and analyst is significant this week. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Here's Jonathan Lucroy to lead off.
Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, there's not a lot of thinking that has to go into that. That comment, the hair discrepancy.
I mean, Craig Counsell has a fine head of hair.
Yeah, he's still young. Of course, Joe's just as young,
right?
Maybe younger.
Way younger, actually.
And yeah, he's got issues.
Look at Kent Sommerfeld back there just crushing the nachos. That's the best radio engineer in the big leagues right there, Kent Sommerfeld. That's why he can eat nachos and still do his job.
Yeah, he saw that he was on camera and then hit him. It was a little bit too late, wasn't it?
Yeah. Now the Brewers have some work to do. Down 3. Diamondbacks just adding to their lead in the bottom of the 5th inning on a Prado single. Mike Bolsinger's been good tonight. Just up from AAA Reno. Gave up that long homer to Ramirez in the 2nd. And he's had some base runners out there, but he's been able to get out of a few jams. Has 5 strikeouts. Lucroy sends one deep left center, and there she goes. Jonathan Lucroy with a home run. Number 7 on the year for Lucroy. 2 solo homers tonight, and it's 4-2 Arizona as Lucroy joins Ramirez in the homer parade.
Yeah, tomahawked one up in the strike zone and just rode it on out of here with no doubter by Lucroy. And check it out. Looked like a cut fastball that just stayed up in his eyes, and he just put a nice swing on it, didn't overswing. Beautiful balance after contact, and Lucroy with a home run. The Brewers to within 2. Well, he's just locked in right now. He's just hitting everything.
Lock in Luke.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
There you go.
Nice going. Lucroy. 2 hits tonight. Another multi-hit game for him, and that was a no-doubter. Bolsinger had given up just 2 homers in 9 AAA starts before his call-up tonight. He's given up 2 tonight.
Yeah, Luke just never gives up in a bat. He just keeps that same approach no matter what the score, who's out there, always looking to protect the outside, react inside. That's why he's able to stay on those pitches that are off speed.
So Ramirez at the plate, presented by Wendy's with that long homer in the 2nd. Lucroy and Paul Goldschmidt 1-2 in the league in hits. As Ramirez strikes out, back to the curveball, and Aramis is down swinging. Strikeout number 6. It's been a bunch of strikeouts and groundouts tonight for Mike Bolsinger.
And 6 strikeouts, 8 ground ball outs. He's only allowed 2 fly ball outs so far tonight. But 2 of the fly balls the Brewers have hit have been out of the ballpark.
Here's Chris Davis. Hard hit ground ball. Owings spins and fires and gets the out. Not much this guy is doing wrong in this series. Chris Owings. We saw a lot of him this spring, and he looked like a good shortstop, but he's making some spectacular plays in this series.
Yeah, just settling in, feeling comfortable out there, and understanding positioning, learning the hitters, learning his pitching staff, and that's a big part of it. Anticipating where the ball is going to be hit.
2 gone for Mark Reynolds. Spins one in for a strike.
Now you watch and see where that catcher's set up. You see the pitch. He might cheat on a slider away, might cheat up the middle if you're a shortstop. That's when you can make plays like that. That's why it's so important for the middle infielders to know what's coming. They know what the pitch is. They pretty much know where the location is going to be, and they can get a jump accordingly.
Fastball strike. 1-2 on Reynolds. Former Diamondback Mark Reynolds returning to Chase Field for the first time since he played here in 2010. First game back here in an opponent's uniform yesterday. He still lives in the area. Had some big years for the Diamondbacks. Boy, they hit a ton of home runs when he was here as a team. He was teammates with Justin Upton and Chris Young. He'd love to get a mistake here. 2-2 the count. And he does get one, but grounds it towards third. Prado makes a play for the out. Well, Jonathan Lucroy gets another tally on the board with a booming homer. 2 homers tonight, both solo shots. Lucroy with that classic swing sends one out for his 7th of the year. They lead it going to the bottom of the 6th, and as promised earlier in the broadcast, the AT&T fan photo of the game, using the hashtag #WisFanPhoto, comes from Wayne. 3 of the 5 represented there: Italian, the Polish, and the Brat. Thank you, Wayne. It's all brought to you by AT&T. Don't forget, use that hashtag #WisFanPhoto.
Another reason to miss home, right? President's race today was kind of weak. I should say the Legends race. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the Legends race. Same kind of idea as the President's race. That ball drills Owings as one gets away from Kyle Loesch and hits Owings in the back of the helmet. Let's hope he's all right. Well, those are dangerous up there.
Yeah, he's trying to come inside, but just a little bit too far. Actually, it got him in the back. It didn't hit him in the head, actually. Just got the back of the helmet and hit him on the head in the back. Could have been worse.
Owings fortunate to get out of that one without further damage. Athletic trainer just making sure.
More on the neck and the back than in the head. It's still dangerous, but he should be okay.
So Owings is all right. He'll stay. And Loesch hits a batter to start an inning. He hit Gregorius in the first inning to start the first inning. And the Diamondbacks scored 3 runs in that first inning. So he's hit a couple tonight. He's walked Paul Goldschmidt 3 times and has given up 4 hits. Now it's Kieschnick.
And we saw Kieschnick in last night's ball game. Handles the fastball very well. It's been a little bit different story with that Kyle Loesch off-speed stuff.
Kieschnick just arrived here yesterday. He replaced Bronson Arroyo on the active roster. Up from AAA Reno. Diamondbacks place Arroyo on the disabled list for the first time in Arroyo's career. Has a ligament sprain in his elbow that at this moment they don't feel is going to require surgery. Arroyo's going to try to rehab it. But a big loss in a starting rotation that has struggled as it is, and Arroyo has struggled, just hasn't had the arm strength. And now it makes sense. So the Diamondbacks, instead of replacing Arroyo with a pitcher, brought up Kieschnick, an outfielder.
And Arroyo's always been an innings eater. 86 innings so far this year. As you mentioned, first time on the DL
in his career.
As if the Diamondback starting rotation doesn't have enough problems.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Got a runner at first. There he goes. And a fly ball left center. Pretty well hit. Herrera's on the run, and he's got it for the out. Elian Herrera, nice running catch. Owings hustles back to first base.
That was a one-handed swing, and he hit it out into the gap in left center. Fooled by it, kept the bat in the hitting zone, but Herrera able to make up ground and haul it in. That ball just kept slicing further and further away from Herrera, but he was able to get there.
Well, you're concerned about that because of the inexperience with Herrera. Was the communication between Herrera and Chris Davis, as Loesch has another one slip out of his hands, and that's starting to get Kirk Gibson and the Diamondbacks a little fired up. Bolsinger, the pitcher, trying to bunt. That was a breaking ball.
Yeah, breaking ball that got away from him. I don't think the Diamondbacks are concerned that Loesch is trying to throw it, guys. Just a little bit concerned about their pitcher.
Bunts through it. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bunts through another one. And it goes to 1 and 2. Loesch in no giving mood here with the pitcher at the plate, throwing him his best breaking balls.
He hadn't thrown too many fastballs tonight. I mean, any kind of fastballs, particularly fastballs for strikes.
Loesch has given up 4 runs on 4 hits. 3 of those came in the first. And he bunts right through another one. Bolsinger with a hole in his bat, and down he goes. That'll be a strikeout for Loesch. It's just his 2nd K of the day. And back to the top of the order with 2 outs.
Yeah, Steven Strasburg and the Washington Nationals come to Miller Park Monday, June 23rd through Wednesday the 25th to take on the first place Brew Crew in a matchup of playoff hopefuls. Visit Brewers.com for tickets or call 414-902-4000.
The Washington Nationals in a battle in that NL East. They are a half a game back of the Atlanta Braves starting play today. Got the Braves, the Nationals, the Marlins, all separated by a game. Washington beat Houston earlier today, 6-5. A home win for the Nationals. And the Braves lost, by the way. So Washington is a first place team right now. Atlanta lost to Philadelphia. Speaking of first place teams, how about the Kansas City Royals?
Right.
They have won 9 games in a row. And they've leapfrogged the Tigers. They beat the Tigers today. Kansas City in first place, 70 games into a season for the first time since 1980. Been a long time since they have enjoyed the top spot. That note courtesy of Yahoo. It's a good one. Well, ever since they put Dale Swaim in as the hitting coach, the Royals have taken off. Royals beat Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander in that series.
And they're ahead of the Detroit Tigers right now by half a game. They do have a lot of talent. Just has taken a while to get going. Last couple of years, I think baseball thought that they were going to be better than they actually were, but it's starting to put it together now.
Remember how hot the Tigers were?
Yeah.
Then they broke out the Zubas on the way to Cleveland. They've struggled since.
That rough travel night for them?
Yeah. In their pajamas, in their tiger striped Zubas. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Gregorius able to lay off. Tough breaking ball. 2-2 now. Yeah, the Tigers are only 5 games over 500 at this point. There's Brandon Kensler loosening in the bullpen. So you got the Blue Jays, the Royals, and the A's, division leaders in the American League. Nationals, Brewers, Giants in the National League.
And Lucroy fortunate there because he had his side of his face exposed right there, and getting in position to make a throw to second base. That foul tip went right off the side of his mask.
Close call.
Yeah.
I don't see any athletic trainers running out there, though. Do it again, another 2-2. Loesch with a look at Owings. He stays put, and Gregorius strikes out. So Kyle Loesch strikes out Didi Gregorius to end the inning. Could be his last pitch. Coming up third here. As you look at the Toyota game summary, we're on our way to the 7th inning. Lucroy and Ramirez with home runs. And Mike Bolsinger, just up from AAA Reno, is spending a beauty so far through the first 6 innings. Just those 2 homers. Has 6 strikeouts thus far, and we're on our way to the Brewer half of the 7th inning with Segura, Herrera, and then a pinch hitter coming up most likely. The Brewers have out-hit the Diamondbacks 6-4. A costly error in the 5th inning led to an unearned run against Loesch. You got to give Loesch credit again, even on a night when he gives up 3 runs in the first inning. Had the bases loaded and nobody out in the first inning. He's able to wrestle it back and keep his club in the game. And Segura sends one to deep center field. Going back is Peralta. That ball's one hop off the fence. And Segura on his way to third. Here comes the throw. He's in with a belly flop triple.
Yeah, that's a big risk to take right there, down by 2 runs. Well, you better make it if you think you're going to get a triple with nobody out. A fastball from Bolsinger, and he gets on top of it right at the bottom of the fence. Yeah, pretty good relay in there by Peralta, but the throw on the relay off the mark. So a leadoff triple, his second triple tonight.
And the Brewers bring the tying run to the plate now in Elian Herrera. Herrera is 0 for 2. Gregorius made a nice play on him in the second inning on a backhanded stab. There's Lyle Overbay. He'll hit for Loesch next.
I love the way Segura has taken that ball up the middle to the opposite field the last couple of nights, and rewarded tonight with a couple of triples.
Herrera showed bunt, pulls it back. 2 balls, no strikes on the Brewers' 8th place hitter. That is Evan Marshall, a right-hander loosening in the bullpen. Arizona has not had a lot of success in their bullpen. They'd love to get in there. 3 balls, no strikes on Herrera.
And threw a 2-0 curveball to the number 8 hitter. Okay.
And that brings a visit from his catcher, Miguel Montero.
Bolsinger has not walked the batter tonight. On the verge of walking his first.
Brewers down 4-2. Arizona with 3 in the first. A Ramirez homer in the second. Diamondbacks got an unearned run off Loesch in the 5th inning, and then Lucroy went deep last inning. Segura at third. 3-0 is right down the heart. Diamondbacks are going to concede the run. They've got their infield back in all positions except third. Herrera trying to drive one in. The 3-1 and a swing and a liner to center field. Coming in, Peralta makes the catch. He's got a good arm. Here's a throw to the plate. Up the line. Segura scores. Elian Herrera brings the crew within a run.
A good base running by Segura that time. He took one step toward home plate, then got back, and with his great speed, able to score on that line drive by Herrera. You see, Peralta had to move a little bit toward left field, taking his momentum away from home plate and way off the mark. Good base running by Gene to get back and tag up.
And that triple pays off in a big way. Segura scores the run. A couple of hits tonight. Bolsinger finds the end of the line. Pitching change at Chase Field with 1 away. out of the game after his return from AAA. He pitched well tonight. Got to give him credit. Giving up 3 runs and 6 and a third. He'll give way to Evan Marshall. Kirk Gibson makes a call to his bullpen. Bases are empty here with 1 out. And a pinch hitter, Lyle Overbay, coming up.
Yeah, he's been pretty good. They elect to bring the right-hander in for Overbay. You got Lyle, then you got Jeanette, then a number of right-handed batters. And Marshall was called up on May 6th from AAA Reno. Made 14 relief appearances down there, but he has been very effective at the big league level.
So Marshall to face the former Diamondback, Lyle Overbay. One out, nobody on. Elian Herrera with a sacrifice fly and an RBI to bring the Crew within a run. And a strike to Overbay. Kyle Loesch, just a spectator now. Closed the book on him. Loesch giving up 4 runs, 3 earned runs tonight. 6 innings. Oh, and 2 the count. Good numbers career against Arizona. Overbay, as a pinch hitter this year, is 3 for 9 at the plate.
Pretty good fastball, not afraid to come inside. Just missing that inside corner to Overbay on a 2-strike pitch. Looked pretty good.
Top of the order coming up next. Overbay trying to get Jeanette to the plate with a man on. 1 ball, 2 strikes with 1 out, and Overbay takes inside again. 2 and 2 the count. Lyle was used as a decoy last night, announced as a pinch hitter, then pulled back when the Diamondbacks brought the lefty on. Gibson ultimately went with a right-hander in that 8th inning, and that's when everything started to fall apart for him. Will Harris giving up the runs. The Brewers would score 3 in the 8th to take the lead and go on to win. Diamondbacks sent Will Harris to AAA today. Overbay, a bouncing ball with the shift on, and a base hit for Overbay. Puts the tying run aboard with 1 away. A 2-strike pinch hit single by Lyle Overbay.
Overbay took a very close fastball off the inside corner on an 0-2 count. Now Marshall relies on that heavy sinker down and away to left-handers. You wonder why you have the shift with the second baseman swung around toward first base. Well, you knew he was going to be able to. He's going to pound him away with that 2-seam fastball. And Overbay gets his single.
And the shifting works to his advantage this time around. Now it's Jeanette. A scooter down the left field line. That is going to drop a base hit. Cutting it off is Kieschnick. Overbay on his way to third. Scooter Jeanette into second. It's a double. And the Brewers have him at second and third with 1 out.
Oh, this kid's been unbelievable. Taking the ball to the opposite field. Second base hit for Jeanette. Look at that approach. Pitch down and away. There's that sinker again from Marshall. He's going to work left-handers away. Able to take it right down the line, and a double for Scooter. And the Brewers poised to take the lead here in the 8th inning.
Another multi-hit game for Scooter Jeanette. He has 5 consecutive multi-hit games, which is the most on the year and the most since 2012 when Aramis Ramirez had a string of 5 in a row.
Of course, it's the 7th inning, not the 8th. Let me correct myself.
Second and third. Here's Ryan Braun. A base hit could put the Brewers on top, and Marshall throws behind him. Ted Barrett, you could read his lips. What happened?
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, you know what happened. He missed him, though. Well, first base is open. You know what they're trying to do. Instead of walking him intentionally, That just hit him, right? The Brewers have had troubles hitting Diamondbacks hitters today. Okay.
Nobody warming up in the Diamondbacks bullpen. You saw that signal by Montero flicking the thumb, and he hit him on purpose, and out he goes.
And he's wondering what for, right?
Ryan Braun hit intentionally. You could see the signal from Montero. I mean, the Diamondbacks couldn't be more obvious about it.
Right.
And they don't have anybody in their bullpen warming up.
Right, and they only get all right, instead of walking Braun, I mean, a little retaliation for, there you go. Kirk Gibson showing that he did it on purpose. Gives him a fist pump. The Diamondbacks dugout ecstatic right now that Marshall hit Braun. I knew that was going to happen.
Well, the bases are loaded with one out. We'll take a break. Marshall ejected. Marshall, he's thrown out, first ejection of his career. Nobody warming up in the Diamondbacks bullpen. That puts Brad Ziegler in the game with just 8 warm-up tosses here, and the bases loaded, one out. The Brewers in a golden opportunity here to take the lead.
Now the sidearmer Ziegler, he works a lot. 39th appearance so far this year, a 2-1 record, a 248 earned run average. Very tough on right-handed batters. Well, you knew the Diamondbacks were looking to load the bases to set up the double play to get out of the inning, and they do it by hitting Braun instead of walking him intentionally.
Jonathan Lucroy coming to the plate for the Brewers. Just the guy they want up in a spot like this. Our shining moment brought to you by Marshfield Clinic. Lucroy is last time up. Launched one into the seats in left center. 7th home run of the year. 33 RBIs now. And he'll bat with a boatload of runners on base.
Well, he gets as many as he wants because the pitcher was thrown out of the game. So it's not like, you know, getting taken out because of lack of effectiveness, which could have been a case too. Couple of hits and a hit batter.
Yeah, you're right. My correction.
Right.
So Ziegler getting as much as he needs after the ejection.
Injury or ejection, the pitcher gets an opportunity to get as many as he needs to get ready. The Diamondbacks made no bones about the fact they were elated that Marshall hit Braun. I mean, the whole dugout was ecstatic. Kirk Gibson, the manager, gives a fist pump to Marshall. Don't you have to be a little subtle about that stuff?
I guess not.
I guess not. Nope. Well, the Brewers just have to stay in their game. They're a first place club. They can't get all worked up about this stuff. The Diamondbacks in last place want to try to get themselves fired up somehow.
All right, here's Lucroy. Bases loaded. Ziegler ready to go. Ted Barrett just warned both benches, by the way. Crew chief tossing Marshall immediately. (4-3) Diamondbacks lead. A base hit could score 2 to give the Brewers the lead. Lucroy has 2 grand slams in his career. He's got another multi-hit game going tonight. And we'll see if Lucroy can make the Diamondbacks pay. And that ball is hit high and deep left center field. Get a ball that is way back. And there she goes.
Take that. That's
grand slam for Jonathan Lucroy.
And that Diamondbacks dugout pretty quiet right now. That's how you answer. You don't get upset. You don't try and retaliate. And Jonathan Lucroy with his second home run. A grand slam to take the lead from Milwaukee.
Nerd power. Jonathan Lucroy, his second homer of the night. And an exclamation point after Marshall intentionally hit Braun. What a big moment for Lucroy.
Well, the fist pumps are in the Brewers dugout this time. First pitch, he didn't waste any time. Right down the middle of the plate. Lucroy knows he hit it pretty well, but it's the deepest part of the ballpark. And he's got to get it up pretty high to get it over that high wall. And way back in center.
Third career grand slam. His 4th career multi-homer game. He's homered in consecutive at-bats. Matter of fact, it was consecutive swings for Jonathan Lucroy. 8 homers. And the 5 RBIs tonight gives him 37 for the season. And a strike called on Aramis Ramirez for out number 2.
Left fielder Chris Davis.
Brad Ziegler comes in, has to warm up on the mound after the ejection, and gives up the big fly to Jonathan Lucroy. 7-4 Milwaukee. A 5-run 7th inning for the Brewers.
I just can't say enough about what Jonathan Lucroy has brought to the table so far this year. Amazing. I mean, you almost wonder why he would, put Braun on, or in this case hit him, to bring up one of the hottest hitters in all of baseball right now. I guess you set up the double play. You've got Ziegler in there, who's a ground ball specialist with that sidearm delivery, the good sinker.
And Ziegler strikes out Chris Davis to end the inning, but big damage done. The Brewers with a big answer after Gibson orders the hit batter on Braun. Jonathan Lucroy responds, a grand slam, and it's 7-4 Brew Crew. Chevy Silverado. Brewers fans enjoying that moment. Jonathan Lucroy with a grand slam. And the Brewers now lead at 7-4. Tomorrow, 8 p.m. on Fox Sports Wisconsin, it'll be Wade Miley for the Diamondbacks, who is scheduled to pitch today. Bumped to tomorrow. Matt Garza will get the ball for the Brew Crew tomorrow night, game 3 of this 4-game series. And as we go to the bottom of the 7th, and all of the dangerous bats for the Diamondbacks coming up, Lucroy's slam giving the Brewers a 3-run lead. Renicky wasting no time getting Will Smith on the mound.
Yeah, bring your setup man, your most effective setup man with this part of the lineup coming up. Yeah, Smith was good last night. Pitched an inning of scoreless baseball, gave up a hit and a strikeout, and has 41 strikeouts in 32 2/3 innings this year.
Telly Hughes talking about Will Smith before the game today, said he is embracing that 8th inning role. The higher the stakes, the more he likes it. He's certainly a guy you could see in a closer's role. He is going along right now very well as a setup man, and Frankie Rodriguez has been one of the dominant closers in the league as well. So Smith gets the 7th.
How about Kyle Loach spitting a hook right here? Not only does he spit the hook, but he's in line for a win.
Yeah, which would be his 8th. Bouncing ball. Segura scoops it up. And out is Gerardo Parra. One away in the 7th. We check in with Telly.
Well, B.A., you just mentioned how Will Smith and Francisco Rodriguez have really complemented each other. And Will Smith said a lot of his success has to do with the tutelage he's gotten from K-Rod. He said the last time he was out, he gave up a home run. K-Rod pulled him to the side and said, hey, have you ever given up a home run before? He said, yes. He said, do you think that's the last one you're going to give up? He said, absolutely not. He said, well, don't worry about it. Make sure you go out there and do what you have to do every time. And it seems like getting that confidence from a guy like K-Rod has really helped him out tremendously.
I've heard so many reports from those who are around Frankie Rodriguez, that same kind of story that Will Smith shared with Telly about Rodriguez and his knowledge of the game from a bullpen perspective. Lee Tunnell said the same thing, the bullpen coach. He said he's never met anybody like Frankie Rodriguez, who spends as much time with the young pitchers, the guys that make up that bullpen, talking strategy. Said he is about as smart as it gets, and he's willing to share that knowledge with others. I'm not so sure that was the case with Francisco Rodriguez prior to him arriving in Milwaukee.
I think he really respects his time here with the Brewers. He's very grateful for the Brewers, giving him multiple opportunities to stay in the big leagues and now become a closer again. I think he's paying him back tenfold, what he does on the field and what he does off.
It's got to be one of the greatest values in the game going right now. The National League leader in saves, Frankie Rodriguez, and what he has been able to do with the others in the bullpen. Well, Will Smith just retired Goldschmidt for the 2nd out. 2 up, 2 down in the 7th, and it'll be Miguel Montero. Well, the theme of the top of the 7th was sending a message. And who sent the more significant message in that inning?
Well, you understand what the Diamondbacks were doing. I mean, Kyle Loach hit a couple of batters. You got Owings up around the head, and not on purpose. I mean, but I understand why they want to retaliate. I mean, I get that. That's baseball. It was a pretty good time to do it, if you will. I mean, 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. The tying run over at 3rd base. You have 1st base open. Instead of walking Braun, and Kirk Gibson has his own opinions about Ryan Braun over the years. He's made that very obvious, and just hit him. But everything was fine with all that until he started fist pumping Marshall as he came off the field. That's when it came to a new level.
Smith strikes out Montero. 3 up and 3 down, 7th.
And tonight's attendance is 18,100.
Man tonight for the Brewers, a couple of home runs, 5 RBIs as the Brewers hold a 7-4 lead, and there was 1 out in second and third. The Brewers down by a run. Marshall drills Braun. He missed him the first time. Everything was fine until Kirk Gibson fist pumps him. You could see everybody in the dugout all excited, doing exactly what he was told to do. I guess they're going to pay his fine too. And then Lucroy on the first pitch with Ziegler in the game. Takes one deep into center field and gives the Brewers a 7-4 lead with a grand slam.
Badger Mutual Insurance runs of the game. And that 7-4 lead, what an answer for Jonathan Lucroy against Kirk Gibson's Diamondbacks.
Kind of an interesting reaction in the dugout after a guy gave up 2 runs, hit a batter, and is on the hook for a loss.
Here's Randall Delgado now.
And 21st appearance for Delgado and a big earned run average, almost 7. Got the strikeout totals, but he also walks some batters. 32 strikeouts, 18 walks, and just shy of 30 innings of work.
Delgado, a former starting pitcher, former Atlanta Brave, facing Mark Reynolds as we start the 8th inning. 7-4 Brew Crew. They lead by 3, have 10 hits tonight. Back-to-back games with double-digit hit totals. Brewers had 9 runs on 12 hits last night. Kyle Lohse in the winner's circle right now. Mark Reynolds leading the Powerball home run leaderboard with 13. Well, you probably won't get an honest answer, but the guy I would love to hear from tonight and hear his truthful reaction as Reynolds turns on one. Is that going to stay fair? It is up and foul. Just hooked in front of the foul pole. And a long, loud strike for Mark Reynolds. Do you know the guy I would be interested to hear from about all of that is Mike Bolsinger.
Yeah, how's he feel about all that, right?
So Bolsinger exits with a chance to win the game in his return to the major leagues. And after it all went down, Marshall to Ziegler, the Brewers take the lead, put Kyle Lohse in the winner's circle if they can get to the finish line here tonight. And Reynolds strikes out.
Well, not much Bolsinger can do about it. I mean, he pitched well. 6 in the 3rd innings, gave up 3 runs, and I mean, it was the move. Surprisingly, though, they didn't bring a left-hander to face Overbay. You had Overbay, you had Jeanette. They put a right-hander in there, and I think that was an interesting move by Kirk Gibson. He's got two left-handers down there, Oliver Perez and Joe Thatcher. You know, with a lead. Didn't do it, brought in the right-hander, and those two left-handers ended up with base hits.
Overbay and Jeanette with the hits. Marshall on the hook for the loss and his first career ejection. Segura with two triples. He started last inning with a triple. Scored on a sac fly by Elian Herrera. Bolsinger gives up 3 earned runs. Loesch giving up 3 earned runs tonight.
And nice finish to the game for Kyle Loesch. 3 in the first. Didn't have his good stuff. Able to get out of the game after 6, giving up only 4 runs total. Not a bad effort by Kyle.
Had to pitch out of a big jam in the first inning. First 4 batters that Loesch faced tonight reached base. The first 3 scored. Segura pops it up shallow right. Gregorius a long way to go. What a play. Didi Gregorius makes the catch for out number 2.
He can get out there, Kenny. Look how deep he is out there in right field. Amazing. Hey, Friday the 27th of June is the Brewers T-shirt Friday. All fans at Miller Park to see the Brew Crew take on Troy Tulowitzki and the Colorado Rockies. Will get a free Brewers T-shirt courtesy of Master Printwear. Call 414-902-4000 or visit brewers.com for tickets.
Here's Elian Herrera. And a sac fly his last time up brought the Brewers within a run. Getting his second consecutive start, just up from AAA. He's made a couple of tours here in Milwaukee. 2 hits last night. He's 0 for 2 tonight, but did drive in a big run last inning. That was Bolsinger's last hitter. Two balls and a strike. Well, Arizona will have Prado, Peralta, and Owings coming up in the 8th inning, and there is a way to get to the end without having to face Goldschmidt again. That's the goal, anyway. Ron Renicky going with Will Smith through the heart of the Diamondbacks order in the 7th.
And instead of using him in the 8th, that makes sense. I mean, you want to have Smith face their best, and Brandon Kinsler looks like he's going to get the 8th inning.
Two and two the count, and down he goes. So Herrera strikes out. 3 up, 3 down, inning 4. Delgado. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Diamondbacks will bat down 3. What a night for him tonight. 3 hits, 2 homers, a grand slam that gives the Brewers the lead, and a significant answer to the Arizona Diamondbacks in the 7th after they intentionally hit Braun. Well, now it'll be Brandon Kintzler for the 8th. He'll have Martin Prado, followed by David Peralta, then Chris Owings coming up for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, 27th appearance for Brandon Kintzler and a .296 earned run average. He's been throwing the baseball pretty well. Kintzler has been unscored upon in his last 5 appearances. That covers 5 2/3 innings. Last pitched on Sunday against the Reds.
Prado takes a strike. Martin Prado had an RBI single in the 5th inning. Gave the Diamondbacks a 4-1 lead at the time. Lucroy then homered in the 6th to make it 4-2. It was 4-3 when Lucroy batted off Ziegler in the 7th. There's a strike called. Wow, Kintzler carving up Martin Prado on 3 pitches for the first out of the 8th inning.
Yeah, not an easy guy to strike out. I mean, this is about as good as it gets. A comeback sinker that catches the outside corner, and Prado knew it.
Here's David Peralta. Peralta used to be a pitcher in the Cardinals organization. You see a lot of position players convert to the mound. You rarely see it go the other way. And probably the 2 most famous recently have been St. Louis Cardinals. Rick Ankiel. That is not an easy task to go from the mound to a position player, a hitter. Of course, one of the greatest players of all time who made that conversion was a St. Louis Cardinal, Stan Musial, who began as a pitcher. Babe Ruth also began as a pitcher.
That's who I thought you were talking about.
Well, yeah, greatest Cardinal of all time, I should say. Yeah, Babe Ruth is the greatest of all time, right? The best example. Rolls one over to Reynolds. Kintzler is there. 2 quick outs here in the 8th.
Shortstop.
I'd be curious to see about discipline from Major League Baseball after the intentional hitting of Ryan Braun.
Well, it was interesting when Ted Barrett went out there the first time when Marshall missed Brawny, threw it behind him. He went out there and asked him what happened. I guess Marshall just said he got away. Went back there and hit him in the buttocks. One thing you could say about Marshall, he didn't try to go after his head. I mean, that's the one thing that he did a good job with. Kept it low, hit him in the rear end, and that's not going to hurt too bad. Everything was good up until all the fist pumps in that Arizona dugout. That's when it brought it to a new level.
Yeah. Well, I know you like Gibson, part of the old school, and I think that was pretty commonplace in Kirk Gibson's playing days.
Absolutely.
Certainly yours, but
Gamer.
The game has changed a little bit nowadays. As Segura makes the play, and the inning is over. An impressive 8th inning by Brandon Kintzler. To the 9th we go. 7-4 Crew. Ninth, 7-4. The Brew Crew on top of the Arizona Diamondbacks, trying to make it back-to-back wins. And the Subway in-game box score. Scooter Gennett with another multi-hit game. He's got 5 in a row. Lucroy's had the big night. 3 hits, 2 home runs, including an exclamation point grand slam that put Milwaukee on top. I'm not sure it is sound managerial advice to go after Jonathan Lucroy, the hottest hitter on the ball club right now.
You can understand it, though. First base was open, set up the double play. Ziegler is a ground ball strikeout type guy. It turned out not to be a good decision.
I'll tell you what, that'd be the last guy I'd want to face regardless.
Right.
I mean, Lucroy's had a great series. He's had a great year.
A lot of things to talk about with respect to that whole sequence, but you know, that's baseball.
Here's Ricky Weeks. A pinch hit to start this 9th inning. Delgado came on, retired the side in order in the 8th with a couple of strikeouts. Gennett will follow, and then Ryan Braun. 7-4. Brewers have been able to come back in the first 2 games. Tonight they were down 4-1. And that 5-run 7th. Scored 6 runs through those 2 innings. After Lucroy homered in the 6th. Lucroy responsible for 5 of those 6 runs across the 6th and the 7th. St. Louis won tonight. Cardinals are hot. They've won 5 in a row now. Cardinals beat the Mets at home. And I believe they finish up their series tomorrow with New York. They have a day game tomorrow. And then they go, well, actually they stay home. They have the Phillies coming in. As Weeks takes a call at strike 3. Delgado has punched out 3 so far in the first 4 batters he's faced.
And 5 of the last 6 outs have been strikeouts.
Second baseman, Scooter Gennett.
Here's Scooter Gennett. Well, maybe Renicky has found his leadoff hitter. I figure Weeks will get the start tomorrow against Wade Miley, but boy, the way Gennett's swinging the bat, it'll be tough to pull him out of the lineup.
Yep. And that's why you really don't want to platoon guy as your leadoff hitter, but and that's where the Brewers are right now. Segura was pretty good there for a while. Gomez, I think he never wanted Gomez to be his leadoff hitter. And Ricky will probably lead off tomorrow against the left-hander.
We got Wade Miley on the mound. There's a little cue shot. Going to be a tough play. Coming in is Prado. And the throw is late and gets away from Goldschmidt. And Gennett on his way to second base.
And Montero never even bothered backing up first base. That's something you don't see very often. Catcher usually runs down the line to prevent against this. I don't know if he would have been able to get there anyway. It'll be a hit and an error. A base hit and give an E5 to Martin Prado.
That's a 3-hit game for Scooter Gennett. He's at second. The Brewers can add to their lead as Ryan Braun is coming up. Well, if you don't know the game of baseball at all and you just dropped in and this is your first ever game and you're trying to experience it all, and a guy gets booed for getting hit by a pitch, and a pitcher who comes on and gives up 2 hits and hits the batter gets high-fived. There's a lot to explain, isn't there?
Yeah, there's no explaining it, really, is there?
So this is your first day and your first game. Oh, the old unwritten rules. Message received and a big message sent.
Yep.
Braun 1 out of 3 tonight.
And you know that Ryan Braun would love to send a message of his own to driving this run from second base.
Got Jeanette at second base. And Braun fouls it away. Braun had a late hit yesterday in the 9th inning. He drove in 2 with a double into right center. Knocked one off the wall. Lucroy would be next. Trying to add to his already fantastic day. 9 total bases thus far for Lucroy. 5 RBIs. By the way, that grand slam by Lucroy, he joins Goldschmidt at the top of the National League in hits. Both with 88. Still 2 more games to go here with the Brewers and the D-backs. One ball, 2 strikes. Braun hangs in there. 95 with a fastball from Delgado.
Yeah, good fastball, well located, but Braun able to get a piece of it. As far off of the plate as Braun is right now, still able to cover that outside corner.
Jeanette reaching on an infield hit and an error. He's at second and in the dirt. Nice block by Montero. Keeps Jeanette at second base with 1 out. Ryan sitting on 10 homers. His last 3 home runs have all come at Miller Park. First 7 on the road, last 3 at home. Narrowly missed a home run yesterday. And he got him. Delgado strikes him out for out number 2. 4 strikeouts now for Randall Delgado.
Took something off this pitch. That was a changeup down and in and thrown over the top of it.
Well, here comes the man of the night, Jonathan Lucroy. Just quietly rolling along.
Yep. Doesn't say much. He just kind of goes about his business, plays hard every day, and puts up numbers.
341 average now. 8 home runs, 37 driven in. Lucroy's had a couple of 7 RBI games in his career in the big leagues. 2 of them. Carlos Gomez is the club leader in RBIs with 38. Lucroy could match him with a base hit here. Jeanette will be off with the crack of the bat. And another good block by Montero. Ball and a strike.
RBIs are pretty well spread around up and down their lineup. They got 7 guys with 20 or more RBIs this year. That's pretty good. Been a pretty consistent lineup up and down.
Lucroy played his high school amateur ball in Florida. Got 1 scholarship offer to Louisiana Lafayette. He took it. Had a great college career for the Ragin' Cajuns. Gives a lot of credit to Charlie Green for helping him defensively coming up through the Brewers minor league system, the catching coordinator. Always quick with a compliment and to make sure he distributes the credit appropriately. Lucroy pretty soft-spoken. A lot of flash on this team. There are a lot of players that can draw the ire of the opponent, but Lucroy he's just a steady personality. Rarely see much emotion from Lucroy. One of those hit him far and put your head down kind of guys.
Yeah, well, he expends a lot of energy on a nightly basis behind home plate. You know, both physically and mentally, and I guess he just saves his energy for when it counts.
Two balls, two strikes. And Lucroy takes a ball. Lucroy's kind of embraced the nerd moniker. That was an article written by Ken Rosenthal last week at FoxSports.com. Ken went around asking the other players what they think of Lucroy, and they're all kind of making fun of him. And Ryan Braun said, you know, he's just kind of a nerd, you know. That's all. That's not a bad thing. He's just one of those guys. And Lucroy said, yep, absolutely. So whenever he does something good now, all the players put the fingers around their eyes like glasses. He took a few pictures and tweeted them out with glasses on. Nerd power. And that's what you saw after the grand slam. All the players in the dugout. Matt Garza. Yep. Nerd power.
Yeah. Well, if a nerd is being one of the best players in baseball, being a good family man, being a leader on your ball club, and supporting local charities, I think everybody should be a nerd.
Very well put. He does all of that.
Yes, he does.
Full count to Lucroy. Boy, he had a big cut.
Man, look at the facial expression there. He knew he had a good pitch to hit.
Lucroy, despite a couple of 7 RBI games in his career, he's never hit 3 home runs in a game. 3-2 on the way, and Lucroy fouls it off.
Tough guy to strike out. That was a good changeup by Delgado. That was the pitch that struck out Ryan Braun. Able to get a piece of it.
He'll see at least 9 pitches. Lucroy is the 4th hardest to fan in the National League. 9.4 plate appearances per strikeout. That's behind Denard Span, Ben Revere, and Andrelton Simmons. 3-2 on the way, and down he goes. So Delgado strikes out a guy who doesn't do it much. Lucroy is out. We head to the bottom of the 9th. It is a save situation for K-Rod. Well, Jonathan Lucroy standing up tall tonight. One of the best performances in the big leagues today. A 5 RBI night, 2 homers, 3 hits. And now it's Frankie Rodriguez, his National League leading 21 saves on the Columbia St. Mary's save tracker. He got fully ready to come into the game last night, and he does get a save chance here tonight against the D-backs.
He picked up save number 21 against Cincinnati on Saturday. He has 8 seasons of 20 or more saves, ranks 15th all-time on the all-time saves list with 325. And got more strikeouts than innings pitched, and has been throwing a lot of strikes, only 9 walks so far this year.
I saw Rodriguez last night. I asked him how far did you get, meaning how, you know, as far as coming in for a save opportunity. Remember, the Brewers did all that damage with 2 outs in the 9th inning to take it out of a save situation, and his response was all the way, which means that, you know, he waits as long as he can before he's got to start airing it out to get ready to come into a game. I don't think it's going to mean much tonight, Rock, but as we start getting into tomorrow, maybe the next day, if he's out there for a few nights, they count every pitch down there just as much as they do in the game. And that could affect Rodriguez as that ball's hit high and deep. Roger Kieschnick sends one out of here, and a long homer brings the Diamondbacks within a pair. Knocked it into the pool. Roger Kieschnick, his first homer.
Didn't get many fastballs with Kyle Loesch out there on the mound. Got one from K-Rod. We saw him yesterday. He hands the fastball pretty well. A 1-0 pitch, fastball up out over the plate, and Kieschnick gets all of it.
That is a first for Roger Kieschnick. His first career home run, and it's a splashdown into the swimming pool. And it's a 2-run game. That snaps a string of 9 in a row retired by Brewer pitching, starting with Loesch in the 6th. Smith retired the side in order in the 7th, and then Kinsler in the 8th. Cody Ross, I beg your pardon. Yeah, Cody Ross pinch hitting here. So it's down to the 9th spot of the order. I was just looking ahead to see about Goldschmidt. He is now due up 4th, so still a chance for K-Rod to get through this one. But there's a base hit. And Cody Ross singles, 2 hits to start the inning.
And now you know why Loesch wasn't really throwing too many fastballs tonight, because these guys hunt fastballs and they don't miss them ordinarily. Well, both times, both hitters in this inning, K-Rod's falling behind 1-0, and base hits have come on fastballs the very next pitch.
Well, and barring a double play, Goldschmidt's going to bat at least representing the tying run. That's what you were trying to avoid. Not over yet. 7-5. Brewers lead by 2. A homer and a single to start it. Gregorius takes strike 1. 92 with the fastball from Frankie.
Big fastball hitting ball clubs, very vulnerable to the changeup. He's got to get ahead in the count.
There's Parra next. Goldschmidt down in the hold right now. Swing and a miss. Right on cue with the changeup from Rodriguez. 0-2 the count. Got him. K-Rod lives up to his nickname on his signature pitch, and Gregorius is gone on strikes for the first out of the ninth.
Yeah, got ahead with a fastball, 0-1, and back-to-back changeups, and Gregorius way out in front.
So 1 gone with a runner at first. Gerardo Parra. He's a little guy, but he packs a little punch as well. He's got 5 home runs this year. Because of that changeup Frankie Rodriguez can actually be more effective against left-handed hitters. And a shot, center field. And now K-Rod in the deep waters. Third hit of the inning. 2 on, 1 out, and here comes Goldschmidt when a long ball could win it for the Diamondbacks. Goldschmidt has walked 3 times tonight. 2 on, 1 away. And he spins one in for strike 1.
And Goldschmidt has had next to nothing to hit all night. And keep the baseball down, don't let him elevate it. Throw the change up, make it in the dirt.
Big swing and a miss on the changeup by K-Rod. 0-2 the count on Goldschmidt. Got to have a lot of guts to try to get those last 3 outs. K-Rod has done it for a long time. This is one of the best hitters in the game at the plate. Goldschmidt was down in the count 0-2 twice against Loesch. Earned walks on both occasions. 2 on, 1 away. Tying run at first for the Diamondbacks, and K-Rod just missed. Surprised him with a fastball. Where did that one miss?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Ted Barrett, I'm not sure where it missed, but how do you take it? Got to ring him up there.
Wow. That is a gift. Brewers got some breaks last night. That was a big one for the Diamondbacks. One ball, 2 strikes. And a swing and a miss. He struck him out. Frankie Rodriguez punches out Paul Goldschmidt with the changeup. 2 Ks.
Yep, he thought he had strike 3 the pitch before, but boy, that is a classic changeup by K-Rod. Check it out with 2 strikes. That's exactly where you want it, and not much you can do with it, even if you make contact. Still not out of the woods. This guy can rake.
Absolutely. Miguel Montero, second on this club in home runs. Got the tying run at first. Both runners will be off with the crack of the bat. And Parra has good speed at first base. There's a little jam shot coming in, Reynolds. And he'll take it himself, and the ball game is over. The Brewers win. What an answer tonight, coming back from down 4-1. One of the more satisfying wins of the year on one of the great nights of the year offensively, as Jonathan Lucroy with 5 runs batted in. The Brewers go to 14 games over 500 for the first time this season. Loesch is the winner. He's 8-2. Marshall the loss. K-Rod save number 22, sitting atop the National League in that category. Time for Brewers Live. The Brewers win at 7-5, and we send it out to Jeff Grayson in our Fox Sports Wisconsin studio.